a very integral part with aging in place. You can phase your improvements over time, but if you don't think about it, as I've seen too many times, something happens, the kids want to deal with the problem, they've got busy lives, and the default, I'm afraid to say, is assisted living or a nursing home. So either you plan for yourself, or someone will do it for you, and it may not be pretty. Okay, questions? Where do we want to start here? Any questions from the audience? Yes?
When I first heard about the village concept and read about it, I called the Office on Aging, and among the things, well, transportation was one thing that you have. If you want to stay in your home, you need to have transportation accessible. The other thing was help, like handyman type help, or in medical help, I mean nursing help or aid help. And at that point, the Office on Aging told me they could, and I thought that both of those should be vetted, because I didn't think I needed just a list of people. And they said they weren't able to do that. They weren't able to recommend anybody. So has that changed?
Dana can answer that. She's in the office.
As far as the Office on Aging is concerned, no, we do not give people, you know, we recommend this person over this person or this agency over another agency. One of the things, though, and not to, like, you know, totally answer this for Mary, but one of the things that the village would be able to do is look at a vetted list of providers that could, you know, it might be that you know, they can get an organization like a handyman organization, agency, that could offer stuff at a discount because they're working with the village and vetted through the village. Unfortunately, we at the Office on Aging are not able to do that, but that is one of the things that the village is working toward.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say also that, you know, we would vet companies, like there are various different kinds of handyman companies and some individuals that do that on their own, but we would also be vetting our volunteers. We would have volunteers that maybe would come in your home and hang a picture, put up a towel rod, change a light bulb, whatever it is you feel needs to be done. And those volunteers that have just signed up with us will be vetted also. We will have a process we go through as a background check.
I think the county does a real good job with their Maryland access point. But unfortunately, government can't pick winners or losers. And that's the guts of the issue. So I think the village can do that for you. Yes, Jenny.
Thank you. One additional clarification on the home maintenance, Helen. It was divided under the service committee into two areas. One would be light home maintenance, like changing a bulb or something like that, and that would be done hopefully by a volunteer in the community that, as Mary said, has been vetted. The other is more complicated, like snow removal, replacing a roof, etc. That's where the village is hoping to have vetted contractors at it and get a discount for you. But also another additional step would be you would do a satisfaction survey of the individual. So it's like an Angie's List combination with feedback.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Any other questions?
Paul, up front.
I'm sorry.
Karen, we are in the process of renovating our home. We have the entire first floor gutted and we're sort of living in the middle of it all. But with the idea of accessible design, which I think is very valuable, we ran into so many obstacles as to what could be done within the existing footprint of the home without more major work than really we can do right now. Could you just give a short list of the, let's say, the top 5 or top 10 accessible renovations that people can do easily without changing too much of the contour of the house? house? Do you understand? Without, let's say, moving all the walls or moving a staircase, that kind of thing.
Yeah, some of the easier ones, if you're doing a renovation, widening doorways is a huge one. 36-inch doors allow wheelchair accessibility or scooter accessibility. If you're renovating your kitchen, just to make sure that you have enough room all the way around, it doesn't necessarily, if you're going to do universal design, you will have multiple heights so seated people can have accessibility as well as standing, as well as taller people, which sometimes it's disability in itself. So bathrooms are huge. To be able to plan ahead for that 36-inch wide doorway and the potential for a grab bar next to the toilet or next to in the tub or the shower. Thinking about roll-in showers. They really don't cost any more to install than a standard shower, but it makes it so much easier, especially with someone who can't lift their foot higher than a couple inches, to be able to get in safely. But those grab bars are probably the easiest and least expensive piece that provides the most safety for people who are aging. Did that answer your question?
No, that doesn't.
Okay, any further, yeah, Arlene?
I'm not sure if somebody can still answer this question. I wanted to know how health and wellness compares with transportation as an issue here in Howard County, because I heard that transportation tends to be number one in Howard County. So I'm wondering how the two compare.
Dana, you want to give that a shot? You've got the overview of aging in Howard County.
I can try. Arlene, if I understand your question correctly, I think you're looking at in terms of what people sort of identify as unmet needs.
Which one would be the government or more prominent in Howard County?
Okay. What I can tell you is that in the 2 years that I've been here, we have not yet done a needs assessment, but last summer I did a series of listening sessions around the community in each of the senior centers. And I think with that, and based on the calls that come into MAP, which is our Maryland Access Point, Paul, thank you for the plug, transportation probably is the biggest thing. Would you guys say that that's probably the case? There certainly is a desire for health and wellness opportunities, and we certainly, I think, do a real yeoman's effort in terms of trying to develop not only what we do in the centers, but in some of our other programs in terms of health and wellness opportunities. I know a number of you have probably heard about Cycle to Health, which is one of our newest efforts. Actually, if you look at the front page of the Beacon, and actually in the current Howard magazine, there was a mention about Cycle to Health and cycle programs. So health and wellness is certainly up there, but I think transportation probably still trumps in terms of the #1 unmet need, if that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Yes? No? No. Yes.
I've stolen the mic. I don't have a question, but I wanted to respond to the speaker back here. One of the things that we heard in the open-ended interviews that we've been doing over the past couple of years in relationship to health and wellness is that many of the interviewees saw a very direct relationship between physical activity, walking. I mean, we're not talking expensive stuff, but they saw that as something that they could do that would help them manage changes in the future. So in relationship to the health and wellness part of your comment, I wanted to share that finding from the case studies.
Okay, moving along to our wrap-up here, I'd like to thank our panelists. And Phyllis, I'll give you the mic back so you can do the wrap-up.
I'm glad we've had an opportunity to get some questions and answers out because using my concept of working knowledge, it's important that something in here, or perhaps multiple things in here, be workable for you, that you actually have something that you could do with what you learned today. So I'm going to throw that, oh, well, no, I'm supposed to wrap up. So, okay, all right. I think really the planners have done a terrific job for you today of putting together the big picture and the, you know, what's on the ground. And while this information is available in a lot of different venues, and you'll hear it again and again, I think you got the whole thing today. You know, maybe there were some, you know, if we were to talk about the things that plague us when we get older, you know, that's a whole medical side of things. But I think you got the whole thing today. So let me throw out to you, what one thing did you hear today that you said, oh, wow, I know what I'm going to do with that piece of knowledge?
You failed.
We failed. Okay, in the back.
Read the book. I'm going to read the book. Because it's very creative. It's a change of heart in how we treat the elderly. That's me.
Well, I'd like to do a small promotion. One of the people that influenced Beth is a fellow named Bill Thomas, who's a geriatrician who started the Eaton Alternative and what's the other one? The Greenhouse. And he is actually coming to speak in Howard County on October 1st. There are 12 tickets left. And so if you, it's being put on by an endowment called the Paul Wilgang Endowment, and it's part of Howard Community College. In fact, it is over at the community college. And it's well worth buying a ticket to. And I'm happy to give you the information offline. Okay, so you're going to read the book. We got the first one now.
Questions over here?
Yes.
Yeah, I just, what I got out of it, I started a blog and I'm doing some work on aging, adapting to age.
And what's your name?
Susan Kleinberg. And did this for kids in my career, but I've sort of aged out of doing stuff for kids. And so I've been working on some ideas, and I'm going to use a lot of, with your permission, of course, I'm going to use a lot of this material in the blog to just remind people of questions they need to ask and where they need to go for a variety of things. So I may run it by you before I put it on the blog or not.
Oh.
It's adapting to age, all one word. Adapting to age, not whatever blog spot, but that's what it is. And my name is Susan Kleinberg, so you should find me.
That's great.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
So we got a little social media thrown in. Millennial over there. Yay. Yeah. So who else is going to do something, they think, with something you heard today? Well, I'm Laura Muller, and I'm working on the volunteers committee with the village in Howard. And I'm also an acupuncturist here. And I loved the flagrant granting of people's wishes as conspiratorial, heartfelt. Let's do that. Flagrant granting of people's wishes. Yes. I think we're going to start a revolution here today. Thought I saw a hand over here. So, was it valuable? If you were going to give a message to the Howard County Citizens Association, what would it be?
Bravo.
Oh, bravo. Bravo. Here we go.
Well, as being on the board, I think I'd make sure this is back on the agenda for the next event.
There you go. Oh, may I ask? I just was going to say, I hope there'll be a follow-up to this. I'd like to hear further discussion. Same speakers or other speakers, and more about how it's being implemented within the community. In other words, what comes out of this. What comes out of this. Is there a place on the association's website that allows people to leave comments?
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
there's a place on the association's
Absolutely.
website that allows you to leave comments, so I invite you to do that.
That's what I was going to say, just follow up to today so that it's not just a one-time.
Sure, and as everybody as you've heard from everybody, it's the association has hosted this, but it's every
many associations, many organizations can do this or something similar, because it needs to be heard a variety of times, and there's no single it, as you can tell. But so if you are part of an association that thinks you'd like to get your organization a little more in tune with aging, these are the folks to talk to.
Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate that we'll be sending out a survey, and that also will provide a place for comments on what you might want us to do next. Because, you know, what we've done here, as Phyllis aptly says, we've given you, I think, a fairly good overview. There are other issues that impact on aging. I mean, some of them are big ones, and, you know, with development in Howard County and how it's being done is another big one. If we continue to do what we're doing, we're going to wind up with some even bigger issues, I think. Yes, I see a hand in the back.
Just a thought, maybe the senior centers could be open in the evening for meetings for the community, like HCCA and Transition Howard County and other organizations that are doing programming for seniors.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Any other comments, suggestions? Yes.
Well, actually, this is something that occurred to me when Beth was giving her wonderful talk. And actually, I think it'd be a perfect thing for HCCA to work on. When I was working with my mom, who was in well, she was in independent living in a CCRC, we were told that it was state regulation that prevented them from putting salt shakers on the table. So my mom couldn't have her salt. And assuming it was, I think we need to be working with the state to have them be a bit less prescriptive, and because they're doing things in the best interest of the seniors, of course, but not always in that, following that philosophy. So I'd like to see HCCA take that up.
Okay, thank you. It's good to be a rabble rouser sometimes.
Elijah. The author.
I just want to say there's a lot of misperceptions by state regulators, and there should be a lot of pushback, because they're not federal regulations, and they can be changed because they're wrong. I don't think there is that regulation, frankly. If there is one, it is totally not right.
Okay. With that, we'd like to thank you all for coming, and as they say, more to come.